Dead malls are a topic I'm certain many of us are familiar with. For the uninitiated, allow me to briefly explain this phenomenon. Essentially, a mall is considered dead when it's placed on corporate retail life support, as well as when the mall fully closes or is left abandoned. This is a process which happens over time due to various factors, primarily caused when tenants either can no longer afford the rent or due to bad business decide to move out, leaving only the anchor tenants, large franchises, or corporate box stores. What can often occur in this stage is the demolition of the mall entirely, usually to be replaced with shopping outlets from the remaining anchor tenants, as well as apartments or condos. On a national or even global level, the widespread death of malls and mall culture is often associated with things like online shopping. Additionally, it's worth mentioning the pandemic, a massive factor to take into account when it comes to foot traffic.
Media City Center. It's not every day. It's music to the ears. It's a feast for all the senses. Temptations at every turn. It's style as far as the eye can see. Media City Center. It's an extraordinary place.
It's estimated that since 2022, 1 in 4 malls have shut down, and the sudden cultural shift in popularity is definitely something to take note of. When malls first started becoming popular, they were criticized for often driving out smaller businesses in the area. It's interesting to see a similar effect occur to malls, which originally were a commerce powerhouse, due to these previously mentioned factors. It's clear to see that it all comes down to convenience. Perhaps one reason as to why the smaller businesses would close is because one could make every purchase and more at the mall, saving them the time of having to go to several different stores throughout the day. Now, with online shopping, one isn't even required to leave the house. Perhaps the local mall in your area is going through some changes or is even considered dead. Personally, the malls in my area have always struggled at least a little bit, with most parts of the mall being vacant, except for one mall in specific, most likely due to its proximity and location, which surprisingly is opening up a 3rd location on its property, which just goes to show that location is another huge factor when it comes to mall traffic. Speaking of large factors, at least when it comes to the United States, one thing that must be mentioned is the death of the middle class.
In exactly 5 days, we will be $100 billion richer.
It's no secret that declining wages and sharp rises in cost of living have resulted in the shrinking middle class. But everyone knows about the wealth inequality in America, so why is it important here? Well, many of the large retailers, which typically resided in malls, relied on this specific consumer base. In this regard, a mall's status can be parallel to that of the local economy. So, malls are dying.
We're not denying that.
So much in fact that there are various websites dedicated to logging and archiving their existence. Which makes sense. Perhaps many of the people in the area shared very fond memories and experiences at these places. I certainly have many great memories at malls, but if I had to be honest, I completely understand why they are dying. Unless they're primarily used as a hangout spot, malls in today's age are basically obsolete. Personally, the only reason I would go to a mall is if I knew it was a dead one, so I could have fun checking it out and exploring it, like I did in my Urbex Adventure video. But it's not like I'm gonna buy anything. So what does this have to do with consumerism? As I previously mentioned, the centralized aspect of services has the potential to reduce an individual's amount of trips needed for shopping. However, malls are actually a strong source of environmental pollution. It's a fact that the lifeline of many malls is to promote fast fashion and other trends, which quickly fall into planned obsolescence.
Denim, haircut, backpacks, come get your backpack.
Boots and pants and boots and pants.
New shoes, get yourself an outfit.
The whole purpose of a mall is to overconsume, after all.
Denim,
Boots and pants and boots and pants.
haircut, new shoes.
Enough!
In another case, there's plastic waste pollution, from other tenants or the food court. Then, there's the simple fact that these large buildings require significant amounts of energy for lighting, heating, cooling, and other specific services. Now, more modern malls have adopted greenish building initiatives like energy-efficient lighting and solar panels. However, since malls were a trend of times past, the majority of these buildings are old and outdated. In fact, in some areas with high traffic, the malls might even suffer from indoor air pollution, where the air quality inside the mall might not even be safe to breathe. Lastly, I want to mention the aspect of privatization. While malls, at least not dead ones, are generally well-maintained spaces, their popularity has led to the privatization of public spaces, reducing the number of public spaces where people may gather, without feeling the pressure to spend money, while also possibly restricting freedom of expression and assembly. We all love malls. I'm just pointing out the very real prices we pay for their continued existence. You can check out my very brief video on consumerism if you want to know more about my feelings on this topic, as convenience always comes with a cost. The dead mall phenomenon has always reflected broader cultural and societal shifts towards economic convenience and digital commerce. Malls are no longer the central shopping titans they once were, and their lingering impact on the environment, economy, and local communities appears to find itself with a mixed legacy. These strong economic pressures facing small business owners and middle-class consumers has only accelerated the declining rate of these once dominant spaces. Their environmental toll of maintaining large energy-intensive buildings, as well as the waste they create, only highlight the unsustainability of traditional mall culture. While I'm seriously not a fan of large franchise or corporate mixed-use living developments, they are currently the construction craze for the foreseeable future. I understand the convenience for some to have all the shopping right where you live. However, unless you live in a city or a place that doesn't have a lot of space, I personally don't believe that humans should live so close to these consumerist churches. I know this isn't how I typically cover dead malls, so if you're interested in a specific investigation into one, I recently made a video on a dead mall which spawned this iconic image, so you can check that out for more. But that's really all I have for this video. If you enjoyed it, please let me know, and feel free to share your thoughts below so we can have a conversation about this discussion. And as always, thank you for watching, and take care.